I guess the key point that I want to bring up is that you burn out when you try to be the system instead of building the system. You didn't start a business to become your own worst nightmare of a boss. And I think for a lot of people that start out in entrepreneurship, at first you start to realize that running your own business when you've been so used to being in corporate life or having a job, so to speak, you can really get carried away quite quickly with the amount of hours that you're working, the amount of input that you're putting in, especially because you're probably building something that you value so much. And, you're almost treating it like your own child. What we need to remember as entrepreneurs when we're creating businesses is that we need to start building structure from the get-go. We need to be looking at building something that is sustainable. And I think for a lot of people, myself included, when I started to find the audience that I wanted to work with and work with customers, I wanted to go above and beyond to serve them and create an impact and give them exactly what they needed. The problem was I started to work from an empty cup. What I mean by that is I wasn't looking after myself. I was probably working more hours than I was when I was in corporate because I really wanted this thing to work. And as soon as I started to figure out the systems that I could use to scale effectively and step back, I started working so much less. And I also started giving better results because I had more energy, I was more alive, I was more focused, and I was actually really, really enjoying what I was doing. I guess the key point that I want to bring up is that you burn out when you try to be the system instead of building the system. And so what I'd really love to give you is a few quick points to support you to identify the potential blocks in your business now that you're growing things and how you can start to love being an entrepreneur again. A lot of startups that I talk to, when they start to hit that 10, 15, 20K a month mark, they want to look at hiring a team if they hadn't already done so. And we always turn to the virtual assistant or, the friend or someone that we can pay to support us to get this thing moving further because we realize we need it. So once we find this person, what do? We start to delegate tasks. We start to give them things that maybe we don't enjoy, admin, paper pushing, the stuff that probably is not so exciting in the business so that we can move forward and we can grow faster. What we don't do is delegate decisions. And this is something that we need to get really comfortable with as entrepreneurs is we need to be hiring people that we trust enough and that we've taught enough and supported enough so that they can make decisions on their own. When you're able to hire team members or hire contractors that can really work autonomously, that's when you start to discover real freedom. That's when you can start to take holidays and not worry about what's happening in your business while you're trying to enjoy some time off and fill your cup. About 3 years into my own business journey, I started to want to really look at planning and strategy. I felt like I was always working, 1 week in advance, was always trying to chase the next thing or the next problem would come up. I was probably putting out fires more than I was actually strategically planning the next steps on our company's journey. You want to build a rhythm. And the way that I built a rhythm was with 90-day sprints. I was listening to a podcast by Daniel Priestley, and he was being interviewed about his startup journey and how he grew multiple businesses to 7 figures. And what he said that is when he was learning how to run businesses, he created 90-day projects. He avoided the overwhelm of the 12-month, 2-year, 5-year game plan and just said, right, this is the amount of income I want to make. This is the impact that I want to have. What can I pull off in 90 days? And it's an interesting concept to think about, right? Because you eliminate the overwhelm of long-term goals. Sure, you need to have a vision and a mission and a plan, don't get me wrong. But in terms of the micro steps, in terms of the weekly tasks, the monthly goals, building that out in a 90-day sequence not only supports you to stay focused on the now, but also supports you to pivot a lot easier. What we need to remember is that we're setting goals based on where we are now, and who we're going to be in 12 months' time is going to be very different. So by setting quarterly goals, by working to that 90-day sprint plan, it's allowing you to step back and reassess every 90 days to ensure that you're getting on the right track and that the goal that you set is actually the goal that you want to be aiming for. As a leader in a business, especially when you start to hire a team, you also need to remember boundaries. Now, this isn't just boundaries for your team members, but boundaries for yourself as well. ensuring that you're not, jumping in and providing input or sharing ideas all over the place. Creating time and space where you reach out to your clients so that your clients aren't bothering you or distracting you from the admin and the back end work that you're doing. We found this was a massive thing, is our team cares so much about the people that we work with and the impact that they want to make in the world, that if someone sent us an email or a message, we would drag away from what we were focusing on almost immediately so that we could help that person out. Now, don't get me wrong. I think that connection and support and reaching out to people as quickly as they need help and they ask a question can be a really brilliant way to show that you genuinely care and you're providing that feedback quickly to support them, whatever it is, the communication that they need to get to where they want to be. But if you're needing an hour of focus to film a piece of content like we're doing now, I need to have everything on silent. I need to make sure that I'm staying 100% focused on giving value in the video that I'm creating so that I can provide people the results and the solutions that they want. So what are those moments that you need to start to schedule in your calendar? What are those segments that you need to create in your day so that you can market effectively, work on your projects effectively, and give 100% focus to your clients as effectively as possible when required. Another really big realization that actually came about when I was writing my book, Build, Excite, Ignite, was that I had to redefine what success actually was. Success for me is not necessarily about the income. Sure, I want to be comfortable. We all do. We want to be able to do the things that we want to do, but I'm not here to make hundreds of millions or billions of dollars. For me, it's about freedom, it's about flexibility, and it's about running and growing a business on my terms with people that I really enjoy running and growing a business with. So what are those things that work for you? In previous video, I've spoken about values and making sure that your marketing aligns to your values so that it also aligns to that ideal client's values and that ties into their transformation. So how does your business tie into your values? Are there any gaps in your business right now where your values aren't being met? And are they the sticky points that you need to work on? As an entrepreneur, if you feel like burnout is creeping up and you're wanting to find a solution, then I recommend checking out my book, Build, Excite, Ignite. This not only talks through my journey from burnout to growing a successful business, but also provides some amazing strategies and tools that helped me to start to put myself first so that I could give the best to my clients.